Hey everybody, it's Glenn back in this video with the Marvel Legends Space Venom Build-A-Figure Wave Electro, who is paired with Hobgoblin, who we see on one side of the packaging are under the banner of evil adversaries, and the opposing side of the packaging features Electro surging with power. And as I turn to the packaging back, it features the briefest of bios, which reads, "Powered up and bent on revenge, these menacing villains are powerful opponents," and as brief as these bios are getting, Electro is lucky he didn't just end up being powered up and bent. And Electro represents our last stop before we look at the pictured Venom Build-A-Figure of this wave. And if you're late to the party, feel free to go check out my reviews of the Ultimate Spider-Man, Peter Parker, Miles Morales, Silk, Spider-Bitch, and Hobgoblin. So here is Electro out of packaging, representing the character in his modern appearance, and I actually really like both the character's modern redesign and its interpretation here in plastic. What I like is that it's paying fitting tribute to the classic character design, Electro being one of the earliest additions to Spider-Man's Rogues Gallery, first appearing way back in Amazing Spider-Man 9 in 1964. And represented in classic form in Marvel Legends back in the Toy Biz days from the Spider-Man vs. Sinister Six box set released in 2004. It's certainly a design that screams the colourful campness of 60s comics. Nonetheless, it's a signature design that's endured for decades. But ultimately, we get it. You're called Electro, you generate electricity, but hey, if that's not enough, by all means drive the point home with a mask of exploding lightning bolts. But come on, it's inherently goofy, yes, and likely what stopped the character entering into that top tier of Spidey villains alongside the likes of the Green Goblin, Doc Ock, and Venom. In 2000, to attract a new readership, Marvel created the Ultimate Comics, essentially a parallel universe to the main Marvel one, free of decades of continuity, and seizing the opportunity to redesign some characters with a more modern sensibility in mind. Less goofy and more pragmatic in their real-world sensibility. So no surprise that many of the Marvel live-action movies draw upon Ultimate Marvel, which is what Sony did for Electro when he appeared in Amazing Spider-Man 2. Gone are the bright green and yellow, replaced with a black rubber suit. Rubber, of course, not conducting electricity, so won't be burned away by Electro's aura, with him appearing to be less of flesh and more a being of pure electricity. Of course, we all know now Amazing Spider-Man 2, or Electro's appearance in that movie, hardly set the world alight, and as a reflection of that, nor did Hasbro's interpretation, at least in my opinion anyway. Yet while this new Electro inherits the body of his greatest foe in the form of reusing the Pizza Spider-Man body, it is from the movie version where he inherits his hands. We'll return to those in a moment, but first let's take a closer look, and I love this head sculpt. It really captures a sinister fury to the expression, all gritted teeth and no doubt hell-bent on getting that pesky Spider-Man. His bald head resulting from the electricity he emits having burned it away, and gone is his signature mask, although in the character design a tribute is paid to it with the way the lightning-shaped scars cross his face. Scars which, like the loss of his hair, owe to his own power which the solid glossy blue of his eyes help to convey. Now if a more classic comic look floats your boat, and there's nothing wrong with that, he does come with a second interchangeable head. Kyle asked if I like the goofy mask, and yeah, I do. If comic books can't be goofy and fun, then where can be? Yet I'll be the first to admit its goofy flamboyance does in modern times undermine the villainy of the character, so really I'm happy to have the best of both worlds. And this second head has been given equal attention, this time with a more sinister grin, I'd say. I really like the black surround of the eyes behind the mask, makes his stare even more piercing, and I feel more effective than Toy Biz's take on the same mask. Returning to his hands, and they have been subject of a spray paint effect to have them appear to diffuse from the black of the lower arm to the translucence of the plastic. And to answer Cross-Void Gamer's question, no, he doesn't come with regular hands. As for suggesting vanilla hands, well, Bob Pop21 is suggesting movie Electro's closed fists, which seems like a good idea. Alas, the pegs on those are much smaller, so don't fit into Electro's arms. I guess you could put some tack up into the arm socket to secure them, but my friend Craig Warwick proposed on Instagram using Speed Demon's hands. According to him, not quite the colour match, but they do otherwise fit. Both the heads rotate side to side and then they look down this much. The mask is soft enough vinyl not to inhibit the neck hinge down, and then they're both able to look up this much. From Spider-Man, he inherits those armpit joints, which moves the arms backwards and forwards, which actually increases the poseability you can get with those great electrical hands. And then at the shoulder, the arms rotate and they hinge up this much. There's upper arm rotation followed by a double jointed elbow. Then at the wrist, the hands rotate and they're hinged, moving down and also up. He rotates at the waist, then in addition to that he has an ab crunch which moves this far forward and then moves this far back. At the hips his legs move out to the side, not very much, but they move much further forward and only really slightly back. There's upper leg rotation followed by a double jointed knee. Then at the ankles his feet are hinged, moving backwards and forwards, and he has that crazy ankle rocker pivot that I love, with this being his widest stance possible, still with both feet flat on the floor. So all things considered, and I really like this Electro. Its modern character design splits the difference between classic and ultimate versions. Sure, interchangeable regular hands would have been nice, but then I'd have never expected to get an interchangeable head, and generally for a character that some might consider a Spidey villain also ran, a level of attention to him has been paid that elevates him beyond that opinion. Anyway, click the video on the left if you missed my previous video featuring Spider Bitch, in which I explained just why she's called that. And stay tuned, as next, finally, we're going to be looking at the Venom Build-A-Figure of the Wave, plus I'll be ranking every action figure in the wave, and I may just have a controversial opinion or two, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.